The Pod Squad.
The Pod Squad.
The Pod Squad.
The Pod Squad. It's the Pod Squad. The Pod Squad.
Okay, I'm gonna have to fix the settings or whatever on there. I did that on the new account. Well, not new, but the one that they fixed up for work. That's why I was trying to get y'all to go to that other one, but it didn't work out. I was like, I'm not even gonna fight with it. Let's just go back to what we know. But I was trying to get that so it would come up automatically. Anyway, thanks for that reminder, Jose. We're the Pod Squad. We're back. I believe this is our 10th episode, so we've made it to 10. And we were just discussing our likes on Facebook, our follows, and I think we've reached over 100, probably. I think it's close to 150, if not more. But we would like to see our audience kind of maybe get in touch with us and let us know how we're doing, and I don't know, follow us and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. What else? I don't know. We've got some posts on Facebook you can comment on. Let us know if you agree with some of our choices or not. But pretty much that's it. We want some feedback, and we want yours. Close encounters of the celebrity kind stories as well. So if any of y'all out there have a story for us, send it to us, mail it to us. Besides that, we're short a person today. Our other squad member is going to be out. I'm not sure for how long. There was a family emergency, and we lost Susan for a little bit, but I'm sure she's going to be back. So we're just going to send some prayers and well wishes out to her. Hopefully everything gets resolved at home, and everybody's feeling better. Anyway, we're going to start. Today's topic is our favorite, or I guess the best female singers. Let us know what you all think. We were trying to come up with lists of one or two, but some of us obviously can't control ourselves, or just, we're just big fans of people, because lists of one or two are very difficult, especially for me. But well, I don't know. What do you guys think? What did y'all come up with?
Flip a coin.
The list goes on and on.
I don't know. We got our guest star Bernie in the house. Why don't we start there?
Come on, Victor. You gotta do it.
I don't know. Who do you guys think should be the number one, the best female singer? I haven't decided yet. I'm still trying to warm up. It's so cold.
That is adorable. And your wife Melinda knitted that, right?
Yes, she
Well, I
crocheted.
didn't know that. That's cool.
She's an amazing woman there.
Very talented.
So cute. Too darn cute. Well, Jose, tell us who you picked out.
Oh, okay. So of course there was a lot of them that I could have chosen from. Like I said, I showed you the list. I was just writing, and then
Yep. Looks like mine. Yep.
and I went down the rabbit hole. I started looking stuff up online, and I was like, oh, I forgot about her. And then I was like, oh, about, and then there was like some groups where it was like a band that has a female singer, not necessarily like a singer known by herself, but like the Cranberries, who have
Right.
the female singer, or Fleetwood Mac, and
Yes.
of course you have all the female singers, the solo artists. But the one that I picked was Selena. So I picked Selena for just real quick. I'm just going to talk a little bit about her, but I remember when I was growing up back in the 90s, she was just coming up at the time. Tejano was starting to become very popular here in San Antonio. And even though I don't want to admit it, because I'm a rocker dude, I got the Black Sabbath and Ozzy, Randy Rhoads in the back, and at the time I went through like a Tejano phase. So somewhere in a closet somewhere, there's an old Tejano hat that I used to wear with my old Wranglers and my old Ropers. So I used to go to all the Tejano places, and it wasn't so much the music at first. It was just because they were, the girls were into it. So, I was into it. So I used to go to this place called Tejano Rodeo. I don't know if you guys remember it or ever heard of it, back in the 90s. And that's when I saw Selena for the first time. It's the only time I ever saw her. And this is back before she was, before she was big. They were still wearing those outfits that look kind of like cow print. Have you guys ever seen that? The cow print outfits that they wore. And, and I didn't really think anything of it. I was kind of paying attention to the music and everything. And I liked it, and I liked her. But she was very it was her personality. She was very charismatic, and the way she kind of got the crowd into it, the way she was able to shift the mood of the crowd. And, she was pretty popular around here. I assumed she was just popular here in like San Antonio or South Texas or something. But it wasn't until later, until I saw the movie. And actually I didn't even see the movie until like a couple of weeks ago. It was the first time I'd ever seen the one with Jennifer Lopez in it.
Really?
But I had seen bits and pieces of it. I just never saw the whole thing, because I thought it was kind of cheesy. The acting's kind of cheesy in the movie and everything, and I'm not a big J-Lo fan, but I wanted to learn more about Selena, because I guess to kind of just make the long story short, I think when she died, I didn't really understand like what impact she had, and I guess I kind of took her for granted in a way, because I assumed that somebody else was going to come along and take over where she took over from. And here we are, like 25, almost 30 years later, and no one's been able to do what she did, because she was able to cross over to the Mexican people, and it's real hard for Mexican Americans to do that, to cross over and appeal to people in Mexico, which she did. She was about to cross over into the English language, which is really hard for Latinos to do. And I always felt like she was ours, she was ours, she belonged to us, because, there's a lot of like famous Cuban American singers, or there's a lot of famous Puerto Rican singers, but there's not very many Mexican American Chicano singers that you can say, and that also embrace that culture too. There's a lot of them, like Selena Gomez, and there's like Demi Lovato. They're Mexican Americans, but they don't really embrace the culture. Not to insult them, but they embrace the culture like the way Selena did. And Selena, I think, was something that was like an anomaly. She was something real special that you could not just look up to, but look towards as somebody that you could say like, oh man, if she can do it, I can do it too. I think if she had broken through and she hadn't been murdered, I think that would have opened the door for a lot of Mexican Americans. But I think when she died, I kind of felt like our hopes and dreams died with her, because she was like special. There's there's not ever going to be anybody like her again. You know, I hate to use the phrase like of a shooting star sort of thing, or, you know, like a once in a lifetime thing. But I felt like we lost that opportunity. You know, if she had broken through, that would have opened the doors for a lot of other Mexican Americans. And if you think about it, and you go back from the time that she died to now, there really aren't that many Mexican Americans in musicians or singers or anything like that. It's been real slow, you know, for them to break through. But I think if she had been able to do it, man, we would have been like, we would have exploded. All the record companies and people would have been scrambling to find the next Selena, and that would have opened the doors for so many other Mexican Americans. You know, that she would have probably gone into TV and film later, as big as she would have been, and that would have opened up more Mexican Americans for TV and film. But if you look at the industries today, whether it's the movie industry or the music industry, you know, there's not a lot of Mexican Americans out there, and that's sad. And I feel like when she died, those hopes and dreams died for like a lot of people like me. And that's why I said I kind of took her for granted, because I assumed somebody else is going to come along and just take over where she was taking over, and no one's been able to even come close.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with all of that. I do think I think in a sense she was like a bridge. You know, she was bridging cultures, and you know, that we here, especially here in San Antonio, I mean, we're kind of that bridge, but somehow it breaks down between, you know, here and further up north. But she definitely was trying to build a bridge between, you know, Mexican American and American culture, you know, getting everybody on board on her side. And I think you're right. I mean, that all kind of fell apart when she died. I do think that there are plenty of, you know, Mexican American artists out there. They just don't get the publicity that, you know, that maybe other cultures get. I don't necessarily know why. Maybe we just don't know how to play the game. I don't know. But definitely I think if she had lived, that bridge would have been, you know, finalized, and we would have had more of an input into music, you know, hearing more Spanish music, hearing our language and seeing our culture displayed out there. But yeah, she was I agree. She was a great singer. She was a great talent. I don't know, for me, and, you know, and I'm all about, you know, promoting cultures and stuff, but I don't necessarily, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree that she would have been like a great singer. She was a very excellent singer, but great to the point of, like, I mean, vocally. I don't know if I would agree with that. I don't know how the rest of y'all feel about that.
I think she had definitely talent, no question about that. And she had the right look, and she had it. You know, like Jose was saying, that would have just been the beginning, because she would have gone so much further and done so much more. Unfortunately, her life was cut short. And I'm not a big Tejano fan, but she was clearly something special. You know, she stood out from all the other Tejano acts. And I remember when it happened, because I was student teaching at an elementary school. I wasn't even the teacher yet. I think it was fall of '94. I was in elementary school, and that's when I found, I think it was in the teacher's lounge, and somebody came in and said that she had passed away. Somebody killed her. And I was like, what? And I knew who she was, of course, even though I don't like the Tejano music that much, mainly because I don't speak Spanish. It's not that I don't like the music, I don't speak Spanish. Yeah, and so I knew who she was. So when they heard that, I was like, oh my God, because I knew how popular she was, and I was shocking. And I also remember the process they went through making the movie. They had the casting call, and man, everybody showed. There was lines around the block of girls trying out for the role and all that. And of course, obviously went to Jennifer Lopez eventually. But I remember all the fanfare and all the, you know, the attention she got because of that. And that was just a memorable time, because, like I said, even though it wasn't the particular kind of music that I liked or that I was into. You know, it was an event. It was a big deal because she was a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike, did you work any of her shows, or did you?
No, but I do remember where I was when I found out about, you know, her passing. It's one of those events in life where I can remember where I was when Princess Di passed. I was driving down Wurzbach when I heard it on the radio. I was in a sign shop, and the people in the shop were just like, everybody was just all abuzz about the news of Selena. And so it's one of those things where you just kind of remember exactly where you were. Like Victor remembers he was at school, and I really wasn't a big Tejano fan either, but I knew who she was. I had dated a girl that just went on and on and on about Selena. She just loved her, and this was before she made it to the big time. And I'm trying to remember. I don't think I saw her live, but I used to go to Tejano Rodeo too. Was that the place on Broadway?
Yep, 410 on Broadway, by the airport.
So it was a big thing back then. Tejano music was really a big thing back then. I remember that place was always packed. But not for me, it was not so much about the music. Like you said, that's where the girls,
the ladies were at.
The other thing that drew me there was it was 25-cent beer.
That too.
You remember that? And I'm getting off subject here, but the story that was relayed to me about all that beer from the local distributor was that it was kind of like day-old bread. It was beer that was ready to expire, that they couldn't sell in the stores anymore. Oh, yeah, just ship it all over to Tejano Rodeo. Those Mexicans over there would drink it.
Oh, my gosh.
So that's how they used to dispose of all this quantity of beer that they hadn't sold yet, the distributor. They just sell it for a quarter. And anyway, that's a little side story there about the 25-cent beer. And they went through a lot of it. I know.
Ladies.
I mean, you could drink 10 beers for under $10, you know,
Wow.
just tip well too. Or I don't know tipping well is the right term, but you could have a good time. Those are some good old days. They played Selena in that place constantly, and that was my first exposure to her. Even though it wasn't really the type of music I listened to. Yeah, I'm like Jose and Victor. I'm an old rocker, listen to all the rock bands growing up, but she definitely had an influence. And I remember when they were making the movie, I forgot about this till Victor started talking about the casting call. One of my acting classes, the coaches actually was one of the casting directors for that.
Wow.
He said every girl in town showed up with one of them bustier outfit. He says, even blonde hair, blue eyed girls, like they just dress like her. Like, no, you don't look like Selena, but nice try. Yeah, so that was one of the things that he reminded me about, the casting call. And what I liked about the movie was seeing the different locations, the Majestic Theater, the different locations around San Antonio, the Majestic Theater showcased in the film, the Bun and Barrel on Austin Highway, even the old, I can't think of the names, the old rundown Southside Hotel, I think it's on motel on South Flores. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, where they drive the bus to go get gas. I mean, different locations, and I make it a point to point it out when I pass by to people that may not know from not, I do that on a lot of things, when, not just the Selena movie. I do that when REM recorded their video off of I-10, I pointed out to visitors, oh yeah, right here, you remember that video? Yeah, this is where they filmed it, The same thing with the Selena movie, so, but she was definitely a force, and even my father acknowledged her one time and said, well, she did it. She conquered all of, the Latinos in the United States, the South, from Texas to New Mexico to Arizona to California, even going towards, Florida, the Cubans and the Puerto Rican population out there, all the way into northern Mexico. She was it, man. And it would have been great to see where she would have gone with that, especially with the transitioning to the English audience. You know, she was just barely crossing that into that, doing that crossover. So she was really something else, and it's a shame. It's a shame we lost her so young, but her spirit lives on. 25 years later, I think it was GMA. During one of their when they go to commercial break, they were playing "Bitty Bitty Bom Bom" as their outro music. I was like, oh wow, Selena. That goes to show how far she's gone. Still, 25 years after her passing.
Have you all? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say she's still an influence to a lot of girls or a lot of women. Like my wife, she's the same age as I am, and she's a big fan. But I also have a daughter-in-law, I guess you could say, that she's like in her mid-20s, and she's a big fan of Selena. And then right now she's kind of raising her daughter to listen to Selena. And if you think about it, there aren't that many positive role models for girls, Mexican American girls specifically, because you can see like a Latina and say, oh, like J-Lo or something, but when you see somebody that's like from where you came from and looks like you, dark skin, all of that stuff, you relate to it a little bit more. And I think that was the thing about Selena, is that girls are young girls crave that. They want somebody they can look up to that looks like them, that reminds them of who they are and who was talented and all that. And I think there's not very many female role models like that today, or ever since Selena. There's not been very many of them that they can say, that girl came from where I came from, or she looks like I do, or things like that. So that's just something that I've noticed. And also with the new TV show that came out on Netflix, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. I was thinking, why would they make a brand new show, since they made the movie? But I'm thinking it's for the new generation. They're trying to keep her alive for the new generation, because there really aren't that many female role models, Mexican American role models for girls to look up to or to look towards, to dream about, making it big or breaking into the music industry.
That's what I was going to ask you about, whether or not you guys had seen the new TV show, the Netflix show.
Netflix. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, but Melinda saw it, and I just thought it looked kind of cheesy, but she was saying it was okay. It goes more into the details of her life and the family. More things that the movie doesn't really go into detail about. But it's supposed to be pretty good. She said it was pretty good.
So let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
That's Jose's new.
That's his new job.
Recording reminder.
Checking up on me. Hit the record button. We're back, everyone. We're gonna go ahead and I think we're gonna move on to Mike and have him give us his choice of best female singer.
Well, like you guys mentioned earlier, it was really hard to narrow it down. There's so much talent out there. So I chopped it down to two, but the more I thought about it, I'm gonna just do a quick honorable mention too. But there were a couple of comments, I think, on Victor's post. And I'm gonna acknowledge some of these people here. Monica Salcedo, Rosalina Crosby. They both mentioned Stevie Nicks, which completely escaped my mind. I was like, man, how did I forget Stevie Nicks? She's like been one of my all-time favorites like my whole life. And while you're mentioning her, you almost have to mention Christy McVie, not so much as a singer, but as a songwriter and what she contributed, what she brought to the table for Fleetwood Mac. Those two ladies right there, just without mentioning them would be just a disservice. But back to my list, I'm going to start with the more current singers that are out there. I'm going to talk about one a little bit more but I did want to mention, I thought Pink was like one of the last 10 or 15 years has been really a force in the music scene. she just has a voice that just, that's just unparalleled. When the type of music she sings is not so much my taste, but you can recognize the talent there. And the other, Ariana Grande, she's a exceptional singer. Again, it's not the type of music I really listen to, but I can recognize her talent. But the one I really wanted to focus on was Miley Cyrus. I really starting to get into her. I didn't think much of her when she was younger, of course. She started off as
Hannah Montana.
on a kid's show, yeah. So, I didn't pay much to that. I remember my niece being a big fan. And then when she got transitioned out of that and started going out on her own, she went a little bit off track as far as I'm concerned. And even my little niece, as big as a Hannah Montana fan she was I don't like her anymore. But I think she's grown up and come into her own. And lately with the pandemic, a lot of artists are just recording and putting stuff online. And I think it was back when I was researching some of the stuff for our covers, and I came across what's called her backyard sessions, where she does an array of cover songs from rock to country to hip hop. And if you go and look at those backyard sessions, I was like, wow, this girl is really, really come a long way. She's I don't know which one to be on. Somebody posted her at the Whiskey A Go Go. Is that you, Belinda, doing Zombie? Man, that's a strong performance. And the one that caught my eye, the Lou Reed tune, Sweet Jane. If you get a chance to check that one out, man, she just does a spectacular job with that as well. So Miley Cyrus, I think, is going to be a force to be reckoned with for decades to come. She's going to be around. She's not going anywhere. She's just
starting to mature more.
Yeah, she's only 28 years old, and she's already accomplished so much. And I got some notes here. I mean, she's already, like, MTV named her she got the Best Artist Award in 2013. Billboard Greatest Artist of All Time in 2019. She was named the best-selling artist born in the 90s. I mean, it just goes on, and she can cover it all: hip hop, rock, pop music. I mean, she just there's just no limit to what she can do, and she's really something. If you really pay attention to what she's doing these days, currently, I mean, you'll if you didn't care for her much when she was younger because of some of the antics and some of the stuff that she was starting to do. I mean, but that's just part of growing up. I think she's kind of matured out of that, and I have a newfound respect for her. I think she's doing well, or better, and hopefully she stays on track and keeps going in that regard. But yeah, Miley Cyrus is one that I wanted to mention. But to me, all time, growing up, favorite female rock singers, hands down, Janis Joplin. I never get tired of listening to her music. Anytime it comes on the radio, whatever, Bobby McGee or Piece of My Heart, I crank it up. And Janis is just, and again, she wasn't around long. She only recorded 3 albums before she passed. Her 4th album was released and went #1 3 months after she passed. Her 4th album, Pearl. But I mean, she, again, rock, soul, the blues. It's funny, but she had that raspy blues voice. And if you didn't know who she was and you just heard her singing, a lot of people mistook her for a black singer, a black blues singer. They thought they were listening to a black soul singer. They had, and now I wish, looking back, that I would have went over there and talked to them about who they were listening to, because I don't think they'd ever heard that, or that's, but they were getting into it. They were definitely digging on Janis Joplin. And so that just is a little something that I remember from way back when. These girls were like and I remember thinking, I wonder how they would react if I told them that's a white girl from Texas, from Port Arthur, Texas. You know, she went to school in Beaumont. She did transfer to UT Austin. She didn't finish school there before she headed out to the Bay Area. But she was something else, you know. Janis Joplin, you know, hands down to me, one of the best female rock singers of all time. And that's my list. Did I go through her accomplishments?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, you're talking about like awards?
Yeah, I mean, she had 5 top 100 singles. She credited Bessie Smith as one of her early influences. Me and Bobby B was #1 hit in March of '71, and on and on and on. I mean, you can just go on and on about these people and their accomplishments. But
when y'all asked me to come up with female singers, I came up with 3 right off the bat, and she was one of them. And to me, her voice is to vocalist as Jimi Hendrix guitar is to guitarist. It's so unique and so different, but so good. Like you said, the soul there and her voice is so unique. I will say I haven't heard anybody else think anything like her, except I will say that Pearl does a pretty good Janis Joplin version. She can make herself sound a little bit like Janis Joplin.
who is that?
Is it not Pearl? Pearl's the name of her album. I'm sorry, Jewel.
Jewel, yes, yeah.
She does a good Janis Joplin. She was amazing. I wish, again, where would she be today if she was still alive? How much could she have done? That voice is just amazing. I actually got to go to, I think Threadgills was the name of the place she hung out in when she was in Austin. You know, one time we and some friends got to go and eat there, and just sit there like, hey man, she used to sing here. That was pretty cool. There's lots of places like that.
That place is iconic, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a shame, 27 years old, she passed away of an overdose at a young age. She's part of that club that nobody wants to get into, Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, and later on Kurt Cobain and Amy Winehouse. They all passed so young. But that just goes to show you what kind of talent they had to do what they did, the accomplishments at such a young age, 27 years old, it's pretty amazing.
I was going to tell you guys that I wasn't originally a Janis Joplin fan. I wasn't a big fan of the songs that they would play a lot on the radio. But about a couple years ago, I think on NPR, they were doing a story about her, and that's when I learned that she was from Texas. I didn't know she was from Texas. And they were playing a lot of music of hers that was more blues oriented. I guess the stuff that they didn't play on the radio. And I couldn't believe it was her. I was like, man, this stuff is really, really good. I think the stuff on the radio that they play was more mainstream, so that's why they would play it. But I think a lot of the stuff that they didn't play on the radio was really, really good and showcased her voice. And man, she could sing. That lady could sing. Her girl, I mean, she's 27 years old, not a lady. Like an old lady yet, but she had the voice of like a black lady, just real soulful, beautiful voice. So I've been converted. I'm a Janis Joplin fan. I just wasn't a big fan of the whole that kind of thing. But then later, like what I said when I heard the blue stuff, it's awesome stuff.
And I think it's funny because now, Texas claims she's from Texas, but back then, especially in Port Arthur, they didn't like her very much. They mistreated her really badly, and which is really sad because they just didn't appreciate her. She had to go to San Francisco and hit it big over there. But I'm sure her memories of her hometown probably aren't very good. But I'm proud to call her a Texan because I wasn't one of those people mistreated. I was just a kid at the time, But she's a homegrown girl. Yeah, very soulful, very special, a gift from God. That voice of hers is unbelievable.
So that's 2 Texas artists, Selena and Janis Joplin. So let's see if somebody's gonna break the streak.
That's true.
All right. Well, let's see, Victor. What's your list?
Okay, well, first, I want to mention a couple of people who have chimed in. Some of our listeners, Gabby mentioned Pink, which Mike referred to. And Mike, there's also that video that you mentioned of Pink doing with glitter in the air.
Right.
The one you mentioned, yeah, I saw that. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, very, very good. Also, I have, like you mentioned, Monica mentioned Stevie Nicks. Another friend of the show, Andres, mentioned Ella Fitzgerald, Kitty Wells, and this is one I've never heard of, Ursi Arvizu. I don't know that one. I'm going to have to look that one up. But that's what we want the feedback, y'all, because turn us on to something new. You know, we're always looking for new stuff. So if anybody knows who that is, let's find out who that is. Now, when I had to come up with my list, I was focusing just on the pipes because I know a lot of these performers, these singers that we're talking about, are great performers. You know, hands down, no doubt about it. So I was just focusing just on the pipes, you know, the vocal control, the range, the power, you know, all that stuff. So like I said, 3 voices came to mind right off the bat. And like we've already mentioned, Janis Joplin was one of them. Because I'm a big blues fan, and she just, I don't know, we said enough. I mean, I could go on and on about Janis Joplin. You know, we could do a whole show on her because she was amazing. The other 2 are newer. No one's mentioned them so far. So, and I admit they're not heavy radio play people, but when I say the names, maybe you've heard of them. One is Haley Reinhart, who was on season 10 of American Idol. She came in 3rd. She's got some really good videos on the Postmodern Jukebox. She sings a version of Creep, which is unbelievable, and another version of Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes. And the interesting thing is, if you've never heard of Postmodern Jukebox, what they'll do is they'll take a contemporary tune and they'll rearrange it to make it sound like it came from the 30s or the 40s. You know, so they'll have that big band sound, and it's very smoky and sultry, and they'll totally change the song. But she's got a perfect voice for it because she's got amazing talent. Her range and her control, her vocal control, just knocks me on the floor every time I hear it, because she can go from really high to really low, really subtle. She can scat, and she can do all these different things. And if you've never heard her, please check her out on YouTube, because she's amazing. Haley Reinhart. But the one I'm going to mention the most, and this is another one, is Olita Adams. And I don't know if y'all are familiar with her. And it's funny because I love to tell the story about how that she was discovered. And I confirmed this. First I said, is that really true how that happened? And I looked her up, and yeah, she was a lounge singer in a bar in a hotel in Kansas City. And Tears for Fears were touring, and they were happened to be at that hotel. And one night they went down for a drink, and they heard her sing. And they were so impressed with her, they asked her to join their tour. Well, not their tour right away, but they wanted her to sing on one of their albums. And you probably heard Woman in Chains by Tears for Fears. That's her. And then she went on tour with them after that. And then she went out on her own and started putting out her own albums. But amazing voice, very soulful, very powerful, 4 octaves, amazing control. And she's got several songs that I like. One song that probably the song people know the most is when we went to war in Iraq. They adopted one of her songs called Get Here. You know, I don't care when you get here, just get here when you can, is the lyric. It was really popular back then when we first went in. It was a desert storm. And, you know, it was like, come back, you know, we can't wait for you to come back from being deployed. And that was kind of the theme song. But she has an amazing voice, and she's probably one of my favorite singers because just the power, it's so powerful, and yet she controls it so well. I don't want to diss anybody, but like Celine Dion is a very good singer, amazing singer. But to me, and she's got a very powerful voice, but sometimes I think she tries too hard to show off how powerful her voice is. You know, and fine, if you got it, flaunt it, right? But Olita Adams has a voice that's just as powerful, but she kind of she doesn't hit you on the head with it. You know, she gets powerful when she needs to, but she also can be very subtle when she needs to too. And that just impresses the heck out of me. But again, these aren't people that have a lot of videos. They're not people that have, in fact, the Olita Adams videos, a lot of them, it's just a picture of something while she's singing. Not that she's an unattractive woman. She's a very attractive woman, but, you know, she's not a performer. In fact, she's a piano player, really. And she sings while she plays piano. But she's just an amazing, amazing singer. And if you haven't heard from her or heard of her, I strongly recommend you check out her YouTube videos, especially that one song. Now, of course, I can't remember. I lost my train of thought. But I'll think of it in a second. It's a George Benson song. I'll think of it in a second. But anyway, that's who I'm recommending because she's just an amazing talent.
And her last name was what? Adams?
Olita Adams. Oleta.
Okay.
Adams.
I'm gonna have to look her up because I don't think
wow.
Never heard of her. We'll look her up and talk about her a little bit next time.
Wow.
Who was the other one, Victor? I forgot the first one.
Haley Reinhardt. And like I said, she's got an amazing voice. Like the two songs I'm recommending are Creep, her version of Creep on Postmodern Jukebox, and I don't know why I lose my train of thought when I'm talking. And Seven Nation Army, which is a White Stripes song that it doesn't sound anything like White Stripes. It's very vocal. It's not so much guitar and rock. It's just a totally different version, but it's really good. She's really, really good.
Yeah, I've listened to Postmodern Jukebox quite a bit. I enjoy watching their videos. I try to turn my students onto it, but I don't know if they really got it. But yeah, they're really good. They do songs and they turn them around and turn them into a different like style. But yeah, well, cool.
I've been
trying to turn my kids and grandkids onto my music for years. It doesn't work very well. They're kind of set in their ways. They like what they like. Every now and then I'll play something that my son says, "Oh, that's a good one. I like that."
They only knew how much of the music they listen to like has been done before. You know, they're just remaking and.
Oh yeah, I love pointing that out when it's a remake and they're all into it. I go, you know, that's a super.
No, it's not a better by so and so.
You know, they're not the originals, and then I'll play them the original, and then they're like, "Oh, okay," you know. Or,
the name of that song by Olita Adams is "Everything Must Change." It's a George Benson song. Everything must change. It's I just like wow. Every time I hear it, I'm just like, how did she do that? You know, it's hard to describe, but I'll post videos definitely.
Yeah, we'll have to find one and post it. Well, I guess we're down to my list, and yeah, my list is huge, just like Jose's. I really had a hard time. I mean, I always have a hard time with these best of things because you know, there's just so much talent out there. But well, I'll just like, you know what? I should just like name everybody and like just run through them. Some of them you guys have already mentioned, but there's quite a few people that we've kind of left out. We have Chaka Khan, Whitney Houston. Can't believe nobody said her. Shakira and Wilson. I thought you guys were definitely going to mention her. Stevie Nicks, y'all mentioned. Aretha Franklin, obviously. Mariah Carey, Celine Dion, although they, like you said, are more on that level of let me show you what I got rather than let's use my voice according to what the song dictates, you know. Dionne Warwick, who was Whitney Houston's aunt. Adele, Christina Aguilera, Lady Gaga, Barbara Streisand, Ariana Grande, y'all mentioned, Beyonce, Pink, Pink, yeah, Pink. I have been a fan of for like years. I remember seeing her on was it the Regis and Kathy Lee show, whatever. And I think she was just starting out. It's like, wow, she can sing. She was very young, but definitely, yeah, she's a great vocalist. Well, Cyndi Lauper, Janis Joplin, you guys said. Nancy Wilson. I think I already mentioned her. Maybe I already did. I don't know. Sarah Brightman. We're getting into theater and operatic style now. Sarah Brightman, Idina Menzel, Kristen Chenoweth, Diana Shore. If we want to talk, Spanish, I always would go for Rocio Durcal. There's also Mon Laferte. And then I have Sade, one of my favorites. I love her voice. Alicia Keys, and I think we already mentioned Lady Gaga. So, we got that list done. So my top three, and because I just couldn't decide, I kind of went for just who do I enjoy listening to? Not who has the best voice, not who has the best show, but what makes me feel good when I'm listening to them. And that would be Dolly Parton, Natalie Merchant, and my top one would be Linda Ronstadt. And I guess I picked her as top because she is so versatile. I mean, she sings everything from folk to, early rock style.
The mariachi album.
Mariachi, yeah, Spanish, jazz, standards, everything. She can sing everything. Her voice is just it's just amazing what she can sing, and she doesn't she doesn't just pay homage to a style of music. She really seems to internalize it, and I love that about her because I really get into all those songs. But yeah, she would be my favorite. I always, and I have to admit, when karaoke time comes up, I love singing a Linda Ronstadt song. So she would be my choice. And I was really happy when she was awarded, I think Barack Obama was still president, and they awarded her the National Medal of Arts. So I guess this was maybe 5-6 years ago. And I mean, that just she finally got, she got the recognition she deserves. And she's just an amazing, amazing talent. And she's retired. She doesn't sing anymore. She has had issues with her voice. But she's still out there. You can still hear her music. Obviously, tons of people have been influenced by her, and in all different, styles of music. But I really got into, well, I mean, I remember hearing her songs when she was with the Stone Ponies back in the 60s. Yeah. Not that I remember listening to it back then, but later on, because I don't know, I guess I've always been sort of an old soul where, I love listening to old style music, watching old movies, and sometimes I think maybe I was born way after my time. I don't know. But then I think, probably not. She just, I just remember hearing her sing, and it would make me feel good. And then I really, really got into it, into her music, into her singing when she did the Canciones de mi Padre album. Because, that, like y'all were saying with Selena, that was my culture. The jaripeos and the out there and, in the countryside, listening to the gallos cantando, and, if that was all like, that's what I remember my parents showing me, from back in Mexico, where my family came from. So even though I'm born here, and I still something about that lifestyle that calls me back, and she just sang with such passion.
She is Mexican American, right?
Yes.
A lot
And
of people don't know that.
yeah. She's from New Mexico, and so she would hear all these songs her mom would play, and she grew up listening to them, kind of the same as me. It was just something that really just struck a chord with me. So she's my favorite, I guess. If I had to pick a favorite, I guess it would be her. But there's all these other women that just have phenomenal voices, and it's just so hard to pick among them. But if I had to, I guess it would be her. So
Choices.
that's it. Yeah.
That's a pretty good list. You obviously put a lot of thought into it.
Well, yeah, because once I started thinking, it's like, oh my gosh, well, I can't forget her. And then later on, I would remember, wait a minute, I forgot. How did I not put her down? And yeah. And then I was up early this morning posting videos, and I, came across more. It's like, oh my God, how did I forget?
How did you forget all that? Yeah. The more we're discussing it, more stuff is coming to mind. I mean, two people on your list that jumped out was Adele. I really think she's a gifted singer, and I didn't think about it till you mentioned her. The other one that you mentioned is she's a Mexican singer. She's since passed, Rocío Dúrcal. I don't listen to Spanish music. I'm not real fluent in Spanish, but I took a trip with my dad. We drove to Mexico City. He lives in Monterrey. He lives in Mexico. We drove to Mexico City 20 years ago. And on that road trip, he popped in a cassette of her music, and listening to it over and over again, going down there, man, even though I didn't understand all the lyrics or anything, I appreciated the vocal talent.
Yeah.
And I listen to her music now, even though I don't always understand everything. I Google the lyrics and I try to translate them and stuff. But of course, one of her biggest hits is, she didn't write it. Juan Gabriel wrote it, but Amor Eterno. If you ever get a chance to look that up on YouTube, she has a beautiful video with a bunch of mariachis in the background, and I mean, that's probably one of her biggest hits that she's well known for. But she's a gifted singer.
She was from Spain. She passed quite a few years ago, but
right.
But yeah, definitely. I mean, just a phenomenal voice.
But just the fact that I don't really listen to Spanish music or understand all the lyrics,
but that you could appreciate
it grew on me. Like, man, this lady this is beautiful music that I still listen to it to this day. If I want to, every now and then I'll YouTube her or listen to something of hers, because she's just a gifted singer. So I mean, and then you started mentioning the Stone Ponies, and then my brain started, the cogs started moving again. I said, oh man, how did I forget Joan Baez? Because I do the same thing. I go back and listen to old music and I think I started to rediscover Joan Baez when a friend at work was playing some of her music.
Another Mexican.
Yeah.
They represent, man.
Yeah. For years, I thought Diamonds and Rust was a Judas Priest song.
Yeah.
No clue it was a Joan Baez song. Till this guy was playing it at work. We're doing a loadout. We're tearing down the stage, and he's got his phone on the table, and we're coiling cables around the table, chit-chatting, and I go, I know that song. And it took me a minute. I said, that's Judas Priest. He goes, no, that's Joan Baez. They copied her. Blew me away because, as a kid growing up, I thought Diamond and Rust was Judas Priest. I had no idea that Rob Halford.
Now the tables were turned, right? This time you were the one that was like,
That's what I was going to say.
So I started listening to that song, and of course, when you start listening to one artist on YouTube, they'll start throwing you a bunch of suggestions for all their other music, and I started getting into her later. So you can't forget Joan Baez. You can't forget Marianne Faithfull from the 60s.
Yes.
These are all singers that are like, man, how do you... So I just figured since we're mentioning the list now, I'm going to go into all of those old videos that I watch on YouTube. And to address what you mentioned, what we talked about, Victor, Pink on the Glitter in the Air video, I wanted to clarify, because she has an official video for that song, but you have to look for her Grammy performance video.
That's the one I saw.
Yeah, so I want to make sure if anybody goes looking for that they look for the Grammy performance, because that was, I think Oprah called it, what word did she use? Transcendental? Yeah, like tongue-tied here. But yeah, it's really a special performance. And you get a chance to watch that, but you have to watch the Grammy performance of Glitter in the Air by Pink.
Yeah. I want to say that, Belinda, I'm glad you mentioned Dolly because, there's a lot of talented people in country music, and I think we tend to overlook a little bit the country music. It's okay. I prefer the older country music than the newer country music, personally.
Here.
Dolly's amazing. She's been around forever, and she's an icon, and she's got a tremendous singing voice, very unique singing voice. And I'm glad you brought her up because I think that's an area we probably don't talk about much.
Yeah, she's been around a while. She's written a lot, and that other people sing, and she definitely deserves to be highlighted. So yeah.
I'm with you on the old school country music. I'm not a big fan of the new country. A lot of it I consider pop country, or back in the day, it was Southern rock. It wasn't country music,
I'll get into Johnny Cash and Tammy Wynette and all them. I love them.
The Carter, his wife, June Carter, she was an exceptional singer. She was part of a singing group, the Carters, her and her sisters, Carter sisters, I believe.
Yes.
We can explore the different genres.
Go down the rabbit hole. But I also wanted to get in, people like Sarah Brightman and Adina Menzel, those theater singers. We don't, unless you're really into musical theater, most people don't really know who they are, but I wanted to include them in the list. And
they come out a lot of Disney.
Sarah Brightman singing Phantom of the Opera. It's like, oh my God, how does she do that? It's like I get a little jealous.
I know we're talking female singers right now, but Meatloaf was a Broadway singer before he became a rock star. He did theatricals.
He's got a great voice. Yeah,
he did a lot of theatricals. That's where he got his start, singing in musicals.
It comes across it.
Yeah. So.
Hi. Well, that's our list. I think we're gonna take another quick break before our time runs out, and then we're gonna come back and do our Close Encounters of the Celebrity Kind and our In Memoriam. So why don't we take a second to go off and come back on? That way Jose can't get me.
This time Bernie's going to ask you, Belinda, name out of it?
Yes, Bernie. Okay, we're waiting on Jose. There's
There's
Jose.
Jose.
Yeah. Sorry. I was choking a while ago while you guys were talking. I drank some water and it went down the wrong pipe. You guys are talking about here like,
Oh no.
You're trying to look enthusiastic while you're trying to say
yeah, I was like,
Oh my gosh.
oh my God.
Alrighty, so I guess we're back, and we're going to continue with our Close Encounter of a Celebrity Kind, brought to you by
Victor.
Melendez.
by Victor. Okay.
Oh, by me. Oh, okay. I'm sure Bernie's had several.
Bernie.
I had dinner with Nancy Pelosi the other day.
And we are recording. So, okay. Well, okay. This was a while back. I was married at the time, and we had taken my daughter to this play area. I can't remember the name of it. I'm going to call it Fun Zone for now because I can't remember what the name of it was called. It was one of those places, kind of like a McDonald's kids play area where they have the tubes and the ball pit, except it was massive. It was a whole, like a warehouse full of these tubes. And we had taken our daughter there, and they had a little area where you check in, you pay, and you take off your shoes and everything. And they had a little place where they had a little restaurant, they sell pizza, and they do parties, and this typical kids place. So we're standing in line to pay. It's me and my wife and my daughter, and we're moving up in line. And all of a sudden, I just look over my shoulder, and I'm doing this. Okay, it was David Robinson. He was standing right behind me with his wife and their kid. He hadn't been in San Antonio very long. He just got married, and I know he married a local girl. And they had already had a daughter or a son, I think. Yeah, Corey. And they were there. And I was like, oh, my God, it's a spur. It's David Robinson. And so I nudge my wife, and I go, look, and she looks and it goes, who's he? I'm like, oh. She was not a sports fan. Okay. I'm not saying that has anything to do with why we're not married anymore, but I was like, let's do it, Robinson, and I'm trying not to make a scene, and she's like, oh, she was not impressed, not like, it was the rookie of the year, and so I didn't talk to him. Okay. I don't like to bother people like that in public because they're trying to be human beings, and not celebrities all the time. And so we paid, and our daughter went off playing, but I couldn't help but notice this 7'2" man walking around. And I think he was trying to make arrangements for a party in the future because he was talking with the manager, and the manager was showing him around and kind of answering questions for him and all that. And of course, everybody saw him, and everybody was like looking at him. And it got a little weird because I guess to try things out, David Robinson actually climbed into those tubes and worked his way. I guess he wanted to find out how fun it was for the kids. And so on one section, you actually go into a slide that slides down and you come out of the tubes. That's how you get out of the tubes. So we're standing there, and all of a sudden, here come feet, here come shins, here comes the knees, the thighs, the hip. It's a 7'2" guy just sliding. He just kept going and going and going until he finally came out. And of course, this was kind of weird. And then the sad part was that he got into the ball pit with his son. And at that point, it was like the poor guy was a caged animal because everybody was standing around the ball pit taking pictures of him with his son, which I felt bad for him because I'm sure he would have liked to just had a moment with his son without the flash. And I can imagine what his son must have felt like. Dad, why are these flash bulbs going off all over the place, And they were taking pictures of him with his son, And you would think, I know if it had been me, I would have like, can you please get these people away? I'm trying to spend some time with my family here. Couldn't have been nicer. Couldn't have been more patient. When he got out of the ball pit, people were asking for autographs, and he was signing every single person's autograph. you know, took him away from his family time, but he understood, I guess, the responsibilities of being a 7'2" superstar in the NBA. A very mature guy, very nice, kind, nice. He wasn't upset at all. Just okay, sign. Play with his son, sign. You know, I was just amazed at how he handled himself under those circumstances. But you know, and of course, like I said, I backed off. I didn't want to bother him because I know it's important. I'm a big family guy. You know, even if you're a celebrity, you're entitled to family time too. So that was my experience. You know, and eventually we left. I think he was still there. I don't know, but we took our daughter out. So that was my brush with greatness.
You didn't ask for tickets? What?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, so,
You didn't invite him over for a barbecue?
yeah. So barbacoa.
Yeah.
Big Red.
I thought you were gonna say that when all of a sudden, like, it got dark, like an eclipse, you look back.
Yeah, it wasn't lit that way, but yeah, I
blocking all your sunlight.
glanced over like, and then whoa, I just kept looking up. Like, yeah, but yeah, I just can't get over the fact that, like, so who's he? My wife was like, "This is David Robinson," you know.
I remember seeing him once, just kind of like out in the parking lot. I was with some friends eating. I think we had gone to a Chinese place. I don't know, some China. Trying to remember the name of it, but anyway, yeah. And he was getting into his car. The car looked like a sports car, but I mean, you have to think all of their stuff has to be custom made so they can fit in there. And he got in there.
Yeah, it's interesting how they fold themselves to fit in those little cars.
Yeah, but yeah. So I just kind of saw him through the window from afar. But
I was actually there when he got off the plane. They had the mariachis when they were recruiting him to sign with the Spurs.
Yeah.
I went to the airport and saw him get off the plane, and I took a bunch of pictures, and the mariachis were playing and everything. It was a big crowd. That was quite an event. And I was also there when he did actually sign, when they had the press conference at the arena, and he's actually signing his contract. And a bunch of people were there, and I was there taking pictures of that too. So I used to take a lot of pictures back in the day.
Very cool. All right. Well, that was a good close encounter. Anybody out there in the audience wants to let us know some interesting close encounter with a celebrity you might have run into? Send us a message on Facebook. You can also email us at podsquad05. I'm sorry, the podsquad05 at gmail.com. And we love to read your stories and maybe share them on here. Maybe we'll get you on the phone and share it with us or Zoom with us. Who knows? But I think we're ready for our in memoriam. So without further ado, Mr. Mike, take it away.
All right. Well, I'm going to read off a list here because, I mean, we lost 4 pretty prominent celebrities or public figures in the past couple of weeks. And when I started Googling, their accomplishments, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So I'm going to touch on some of this. And it's just a fraction of, it's just so impressive, these folks that, the lives they led. And the one that I remember because I was 9 years old. It was April 8th, 1974. Hammerin' Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's record of 715 home runs. So he was born Henry Aaron in February 5th, 1930 in Mobile, Alabama. He passed away this month on the 22nd in Atlanta, Georgia. He played 23 seasons in the major leagues baseball, number 44, Milwaukee Braves. When he retired with 755 home runs, I mean, that's quite the accomplishment. Had a 305 batting average. For you baseball fans, you're going to know what all this means. Not everybody. He was inducted into the Major League Hall of Fame in 1982. President Bush awarded him with the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2002. Of course, he's well known for the breaking Babe Ruth's record, but he also had 12 other major league records, and he was the winner of 3 Golden Glove Awards. But I remember watching that game. I remember being 9 years old, and the hype and the build-up as he got closer and closer to breaking the record. The 2 or 3 or 4 games, it was all over the media. You know, he's getting close. He's getting close. So I remember tuning in and watching the game and watching it live when it actually happened. So to watch the old videos of the replays and the fans running the bases with him, and I can remember all of that. So fond memories of hammering Hank Aaron, phenomenal baseball player. But you know, he also did a lot outside of baseball too. One of the things that was important to him was racial equality. He did battle racism, and he broke through racial barriers. He remember a lot of people weren't happy that he was breaking Babe Ruth's record, but you know, he stood up to the fire and battled through a lot of that, and really an amazing individual, both on the baseball field and off. So Hank Aaron, we salute you. Let me see, the next person on my list is we'll go to a couple of actresses. Cloris Leachman, 94 years old, passed away January 27th, this past week. She was born April 30th in Des Moines, Iowa, 1926, Des Moines, Iowa. She was an Academy Award winner in 1972 for The Last Picture Show, Best Actress in a Supporting Role. In 1976, she won a Golden Globe for Phyllis. She won 8 Emmys. Won 74 and 75, 1974 and 75 on the Mary Tyler Moore Show for her supporting role there. Again, so many credits and accomplishments her career spanned decades, so just so many to mention. Those are just a few. Cicely Tyson, she was started off as a model, actress. She was born in Harlem, New York, on December 19th, 1924. She passed at 96 years of age on January 28th, the day after Cloris Leachman passed. She won an honorary Academy Award in 2018. Again, a recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2016. She won a Tony Award in 2013, Emmy Awards. Started off Broadway in 1957. Some of her more memorable roles was on Roots in 1977, Fried Green Tomatoes 1991, The Help 2011. I mean, her career just went. She was. I don't have this in my notes, but I remember reading. I think she was even on How to Get Away with Murder, which is something recent. So she was working right up until the end, it looks like. One thing I did not know about her was that she was married to Miles Davis in the 80s. I didn't know that. That was news to me. 1981 through 1988, they were married. And lastly, Larry King. I mean, everybody knows Larry King. The thing that astounds me about this man and his field of journalism, he started in radio, went on to have his Larry King Live show on CNN starting in 1985. He won 2 Peabodys, an Emmy, 10 Cable Ace Awards. But one thing that I was reading about him that really astounded me was he's credited with over 50,000 interviews. That's a lot of interviews. Wow. I was like, wow, this guy, but then again, he got his start in the 50s in radio, is it? And yeah, quite the career Also, quite the ladies' man. He was married 8 times. Looks like, but he did he had cameos in Shrek. I can't read my own writing here. Guest appearances in the movies Arthur and Third Rock. Yeah. So Larry King. And those are just 4. If I missed anybody, just let me know. But all of these individuals have just led incredibly accomplished lives, and just like to take a moment to salute them. Yeah.
We'll raise my cup.
Yeah. And if I missed anybody, let me know. But those are the 4 that I covered for the past couple of weeks.
Definitely 4 legendary folks that we've lost. What's next? Oh, I missed our quick pick last time, so I have a quick pick for you guys this time around. I guess I was just wondering, since Selena, we've been talking about female singers, and we discussed quite a bit about Selena's life and how we have seen her on film, portrayed on film, and now on that Netflix program series. I was just wondering whose life, and since we're doing female singers, let's just keep it with female singers. Whose life would you like to see portrayed that, maybe they haven't, it hasn't been done yet? Anybody who you think
Anyone or
deserves, anybody who you think, I said, let's keep it with women, since we're doing women singers. So female singers, anybody else's life who you would like to have seen maybe turn into a movie?
I think Dolly Parton would have a pretty interesting story. I mean, she's been around for so long, and from humble beginnings, I'm sure they're going to make a movie about her one day.
That's exactly who I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, they already have. I'm drawing a blank.
Janis Joplin, The Rose.
Yeah.
They already did that.
Yes. Yeah.
Even though it's not her, it's about her. Basically, it's
pretty. Yeah. It's. I mean.
Yeah.
Fictionalized, somewhat, but basically, it's her story. That was Bette Midler, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? So Mike and I opt for Dolly. Victor and Jose, do y'all have a person you would like to see portrayed and see a biopic of?
See, I always refer to this segment as Think Fast because I never know what you're going to ask me. No time for research.
Yeah. Because it's like who you would like to see, whose life would you like to know more about?
Who I think would be interesting would be Cyndi Lauper.
That was my second choice.
That would be interesting.
Oh, that has to be a female singer?
Yeah.
All right.
Since that's our topic today, I figured might as well stick with it.
I wouldn't mind seeing a biography or biopic of Joan Jett. I think she'd have an interesting story. Yeah.
Yeah, that would.
Her time with the Runaways. Yeah.
Her time with the Runaways and then her solo career.
Yeah. I would watch that movie or documentary or whatever they put together. But,
Well, they did have that. Didn't they have that Runaways? Wasn't there a film?
Did they make one?
Yeah, it was a
I
movie
didn't
about
see
the
it.
Runaways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was only 17 years old when she wrote that song "Cherry Bomb" for the Runaways.
Wow.
Like, yeah. So I got a chance to see her at the River City Rock Fest, work one of her shows, and I was hanging around backstage, and she was there with her group doing a little pre-show pep talk about 4 or 5 feet away from me. I'm sitting on a road case, and she walked up with her group, and right before they hit the stage, they got their little circle, did their little pep talk. I don't think they did a prayer, but they did like a little group. Okay, let's get out there and get them, guys. And got to see her up close. Yeah, it was a little bit of a highlight. Yeah, it would have been nice to sneak a picture in because she was really close, but I didn't get a chance to do that. But it was a good show. The River City Rock Fest, I think the last Rock Fest they did before things got canceled and shut down.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was one of the performers, one of many performers. But I wouldn't mind seeing one of her shows.
Where was that held?
Here in San Antonio.
Yeah, no, but what venue?
AT&T Center outside in the parking area. It was an outdoor
Outdoor
festival.
Rock Festival.
Yeah.
Don't know why I didn't.
She's 60 years old and she's still rocking. So she's starting at 7, from 17 to 16. I'm sure she's got some stories. You know.
Or there's a story where she saved someone's life up in the East Coast and where they were drowning and she was on the beach and she ran out and saved her life.
Oh, I never heard that one.
Yeah. Brought them into shore.
Interesting.
I don't know all the details, but I heard that she actually did that. She saved somebody's life.
Jose, still no idea?
You know what? I just I was looking at my list and I finally thought of one, but they're actually making a movie, or maybe they already made it of her. It's of Aretha Franklin. I don't know if you guys know that. I forgot who they picked, but they're doing it's already made, I guess. I guess it was supposed to come out in the theaters maybe, but because of the pandemic, I guess.
Right.
I don't know.
Was it Jennifer Hudson?
Was it Jennifer Hudson? I was going to say it was.
I think Jennifer Hudson is who's portraying her in a movie, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I saw something about that a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so
I don't remember who's doing her part, but yeah, I do remember seeing that was coming out. So, that was a good pick then. Yeah. Well, you'll get to see your choice pretty soon then. Yeah. I don't know. I was also thinking maybe I think Lady Gaga for sure would have like something interesting, and Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, Stevie Nicks.
Stevie Nicks would be a good one.
But anyway, I guess we'll see what comes in the future. Maybe we'll see them on the screen. Alrighty, well, anything else that you guys want to add? I think that does it for this episode, number 10.
You know what we're doing next week or next time?
Next time, we are going to be having a Valentine's Day show.
Yay.
So, yes, hearts all around, hearts all around.
Love is in the air.
Bring your loved one with you and listen to our next podcast. We'll be talking about films and music, I believe. But we're going to leave it a little mysterious till right before. So we got some interesting things planned.
Also, encourage our followers to participate.
Yes.
Give us your feedback.
Send us feedback. Send us your love letters. Send us something. Let us know we're doing okay and we're doing a good job.
Be our Valentine.
Be our Valentine. Oh, goodness. Well, and then, till then, Just keep safe, keep wearing your mask. We're still, waiting this out, and get your vaccines if you're able to. If not, wait calmly and patiently, until it's time. And we'll be here. We'll be here in a couple weeks to see you again.
Bernie's our role model.
Wear your mask. Don't forget to wear your mask and get your vaccination.
There you go. Do what Bernie says. All right, guys. Well, good show, and thanks for showing up and helping me to remember to turn on my recording button.
Good job.
All right, guys. We'll see you later. Take care.
Bye. See y'all next time. Bye.
Bye, tortillos.